Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome back to North Frisian. Now, this is a little bit of a different episode this week because you've just got me. FSG and I couldn't quite link up this week with our time schedules and other commitments. So we actually decided, because he's off to FarmCon, I'm off overseas, that we weren't actually going to be able to do anything much for about 3 weeks. So we said, well, why don't we do a little video ourselves individually? So here we are. This is me just getting a little bit of work done on the farm. Not a huge amount for me to actually do. I've written a little bit of a list of things I want to get done, but one of them is actually to clean up around the farmyard because it was a mess. But we'll take a quick look at what FSG's done and obviously go along and check out his video to see what he has been busy doing. But the first thing, if you look there over my shoulder, he's been in and compacted our silage for us and got the cover put on that. Because we hadn't done that last time. And what's actually interesting, I'm just going to go back into my first person view. And we just spin around and go and have a look at this bunker here. I bring up our menu for this one. There you go. This one is 88% fermented. Now, I'm going to jump over on this one. This one's pretty much at 0 because it's really only just been compacted and leveled off. But what I wanted to show you is, remember when we made these bales, which was probably back in August, maybe September? These bales are only 61% fermented. They are taking a very, very long time to ferment, and I don't know why that is. So, while we've had 836,000 litres here ferment to 88% and not be too much further away from being done, those bales haven't got much further along. So it looks like we'll be taking some silage out of here before we know it to get some TMR made for our cows. So while we're up here, actually, that's probably a very good vantage point. Just take a look over there. You remember last episode FSG was busy out planting. Well, it looks like his crops have started growing there. He's got a weeder in there behind his doit, so I don't know whether he's getting in and getting a few weeds dealt with. Like I said, you have to go along and check out his video to see what he was doing. But also, we just run along here and go all the way down. But you have a look at his cornfield over there. You can see he's already started taking a couple of rounds off that, so he's obviously getting into a little bit of harvesting. And if we dive into the map, you'll actually see this field here, which I think was sunflowers. He's already harvested that one. And here you go, you can see he's been around the cornfield a couple of times, sort of got the field opened up and ready to go. So well worth going and checking out his video and seeing what he has been up to. As for me, well, we've got this field here we've got to decide what we're going to do with. At the moment, I'm leaning towards cutting it in half, basically making this part here grass and adding it into our other 3 grass fields we have. So we've got more options for silage and hay in the future, and then making this rectangular section down here into another crop field. And I'm tossing up at the moment whether to put something in that we could potentially sell to FSG for his pigs, maybe wheat or barley. We can plant those at the moment. So if we were to put some wheat or barley in, then we could sell that to FSG, keep the straw for ourselves, for the cows. If he didn't want it, we could always look at doing some whole crop silage out of it too, as something a little bit different, putting the mower there on the front of the forage harvester and doing that. So a few different options for what we might want to do. But first things first, after all this talking, I'm going to come on back around this way and have a little bit of a look in the yard, because one thing I have been quite mindful of is we have got some very, very dirty equipment lying around. We're not going to need that forage harvester for another 10 or 12 months. That needs a good clean and put away. The tractors are filthy, the baler's filthy. So generally, when we've got equipment just strewn all over the place. So I'm going to go through, find a home for some of this, get it all tidied up around the yard, return some leased equipment. Of course, we've got this mulcher here. We're going to keep hold of that for just a little bit longer. Although that's actually leased on FSG's farm, for that little mistake I made last week. So we're going to keep hold of that though, because that can still be used on his cornfield and his sunflower fields when he's done. But yeah, I just kind of want to have a little bit of a tidy up and get some things put away. As for the cows, I'll just take a quick look at those. So as you can see, our health and productivity reproduction is absolutely 0. We have got a little bit of milk, we have got quite a bit of slurry, but they are all out of food. So I'm going to go and get some feeding done. Probably just give them some hay at the moment, because that will be 80% effective. So we can go and pull that out of the shed, maybe throw that into the feed mixer and come and deposit that down for them. And then once we get the silage, we can make sure that they are well fed. We could even put some straw in as well and start getting some manure produced. Don't know whether I want to do that. I think we might just stick to the slurry, because we can use that slurry on our grass fields for the nitrogen when we want to. So it'd be good to get these all back up to a good level of health. And we've got 25 with all that silage. I kind of think we might want to look at increasing our herd number. I am just mindful of the fact we're $78,000. Do we need to buy anything? Probably not a huge amount of anything at the moment, so perhaps we go and spend $20,000-$30,000 on some more cows. We'll give that some thought as we're going around. But first things first, let's go and get some equipment tidied up, put away, and get this yard a little bit cleaner. Right, well, that thing's a little bit tidied up now. Still got the windrow over there, but I think that's going to be too tall to fit into any of the sheds. Made good use of that shed down there, actually, one we hadn't been using thus far. Still got to go and give the Vulture a bit of a clean, but first things first, we're just going to grab hold of this roller. This roller was a dud, did not work for us, so we're going to go and take it back down to the dealer, get a little bit of money for that. We're also going to take this silage blade down as well, leveler, because while we've made use of that, we're not going to need it again for a while, and it was only leased. So we'll run these both back down to the store. We do have that trailer there, which is ours, but we do have that leased at the moment as well, so that's something we could consider returning, but I'm going to need it at some stage to sell some of the silage, but whether we're going to need it straight away or not, got the forage harvester tucked in there nicely in that shed as well. So anyhow, we're going to get those beacons on before we get in trouble. We'll head down again and get these returned, sold, and a little bit more money in, and then we'll head back down and get the animals fed, get the cows fed, before we figure out what we're going to do in this field here. So down here at the dealer, just jump into the menu, we've got the grass care roller here. We are going to sell that there, get $8,500 back for it. Too bad. And then the Holaris, we will go through and return. How much time do we actually put on it? 0.2 of an hour. We hardly used it because FSG had that fantastic wheel loader, which we were able to make good use of. So there we go. It's got those things all a little bit tidied up. Actually, while we're here, we should just go through and do some repairs on this tractor, just make sure it's running properly. So that's back up to 100% good condition. Does need a repaint, but we all know the silliness that is the repaint requirements here in Farming Simulator. So that's all that taken care of. Let's get back down and we'll go and get the animals fed. Just as we get back to the yard here, you'll see our grass in there is pretty much ready to mow again. So I have to make a big decision now as to whether we're going to spend the time and effort in this later part of the year to go through and get that all mown, windrowed, whether we make some into hay, some into silage, probably make most of it into hay and put it into storage would be the thought process, but we're going to have to give that a little bit of consideration. Anyhow, we might, let's go and park this tractor up actually, we'll park this up and we'll use the Vulture for feeding the animals. We might as well give it a wash while we're at it. So I think if we just pull in under here, this should be a good spot for the tractor, assuming it fits in underneath. I think we're going to. I haven't heard anything break or fall off. Beacons are still flashing, which is the highest point, so here we go, got those turned off, and let's go and jump in the Vulture. Close, but plenty of space in the end. Right, let's go and just have a look here. This does need a wash, but I think we might do a little bit of feed mixing with it first, or feeding with it. We're not mixing anything. So we're going to grab some hay out of the shed. We'll need this. We're going to need to go and get the telehandler. We'll load up the feed mixer with the cows some food. So I've got the telehandler, just taking a look at the feed mixer here. It's got 23,800 litre capacity, and I think most of our hay bales, if we just go and have a look in the trigger, 7250, a couple of 8,000 litre ones. So 8's what, 16, and a 7.2 would be 23,250 is my math. So actually if we take two of the 8,000 litres and one of the 7250s, that'll leave us pretty much right to fill up the feed mixer. So give that a shot and see how we end up. Alright, there we go, they're spawned out there, so that looks about right. 7250 and 8,000 litres of pop. Right, let's get those picked up. We'll put them up in the feed mix and see how we get on. Right, I'll go for a little bit of first person loading here, I think. Let's start off, go around and get this smaller bale picked up. We'll probably stack it up on top of the bigger ones, but let's just do one at a time. Not get that down too low. 3, 2, 1. That's got that suitably speared. So if we just spin ourselves around, here we go. See the feed mixer, nice and clear. See if we can get this extended up just a touch. Oh, no, that's not the right one. Here we go. Work on our key blinds a little bit with the telehandler here. Right, let's just have a look, see if we can get that dumped in. Come off. So, here we go. Right, get that one done. Now let's just see about bringing that back in. So it's in the right spots. Pick these other two up, and that should be us good. Good and sorted. Alright, the right spot. There we go. Two at once. These forks are quite nice. I've got that little bit of height on the back, so you don't have any problems with the bale slipping off. Look here. Send that out again. Make sure we've got enough length and enough height. Go over top of the mixer. Lower that down. Should be us good to go. Let's see if we get back a little bit. Perfect. Right, hopefully those are both going to go and disappear. Get ground down. Hoping they're still processing. Hoping that'll process. Hey, it should. Let's go and have a look. Alright, so there we go. We've got 16,888 litres in here. We've got a problem. I've had this before on one of these feed mixers with the trigger. You can actually see the bale is in there, but it hasn't actually been taken and chewed up. It's actually kind of just sitting in the bottom. I think with a little bit of wiggling around, we might be able to get that dislodged and actually part of the mixer, but it's a sort of it's a bug I've had before. If you don't quite hit the trigger properly in the feed mixer, it kind of doesn't work. So see if we can do a little bit of manipulation. Otherwise, we might need to get a bit of super strength in there if we can grab it and get it to chew up. You can see it moving in underneath. Let me brake and stop. No, right. Let's just jump out quickly. Shouldn't be doing this in the middle of the road, particularly without our beacons on, but let's just have a look here and grab that bale so you can see it in there. 6,361 litres. Well, we got it sorted. Had to use the telehandler to reach in and kind of pull it out. So again, not sure why that did that, but this should be enough to keep the cows happy. 23,500 or so litres. It did work out to be the perfect amount for us to use the those 3 bales that we had. Of course, we do want to give them TMR because that's going to be 100% efficiency if we do go through and do that. But let's just have a look. Can we put this beast down through the middle here? I know there is a feed trigger on the outside. We don't actually have to go all the way in. Let's just have a look. Here we go, there's our trigger. So we're feeding out, left hand side here. That's how it's driven in. It's probably not the right hand side because it looks like the feed is on this side. Oh no, it's just appears on both, so there we go. Can't drive through, it is only a one-way in, one-way out, so we'll just have to get our way into here. There we go, that's us done. Cows are all fed now, and we'll get backed out, so hopefully that'll be enough to keep them satisfied until we can get some silage out of the bunker and get them fed with some proper TMR. Good, right, another job done and dusted, so just get those turned off. Now, I've been giving some thought with that bale buster over there, whether we keep it, whether we do use manure. It's kind of easier to manage if we just have slurry, so I'm kind of on the fence whether we keep it. Not sure whether we should use this and give the cows some straw, or whether we actually just get rid of it and make a little bit of money off it. I don't actually know what it's worth. Let's just have a quick look. So there we go, Elmer's Manufacturing Ravage. Had it for 2 months, haven't even used it. 27 grand, so that's quite a few cows. For the fact we can actually use the feed mixer. If we do want to give straw, we can actually just put bales up on the feed mixer. So I reckon we're going to get rid of that. We might sell it, and that'll give us another 27 grand, take us up to 110, and that's going to be a good amount of cows. So let's give this a quick wash off, get the vulture all nice and clean. We'll park up the feed mixer, and then we might run that down to the shop, get it sold. So let's take a look at this. There we go. Once again, we haven't even used it. We can sell that actually a little bit more here, almost $30,000. So definitely worth the trip down here and selling it directly back to the dealer. So there we go. Might as well repair the tractor while we're here and get that all back up to condition. And that's us done, $114,799. So I didn't think I was going to come into today's episode having earned, what's that, better part of $35,000. So I guess we better go and spend it. Let's go and have a look down at the animal pens, down at the cow pasture, cow barns, and see what we can add. Tell you what, it's nice driving in here into a nice clean yard, no tractors all over the place. Now, I'm just going to figure out where the best place for this one is, probably in this corresponding shed, or lean-to shelter here that we've got the other one parked into. There we go, get that up into there, and get it all turned off. Perfect. Right, let's go and have a look at the cow barns and see what we can purchase. So taking a look at our current cow barn, so we've got 20-month-old and we've got 25 of those, and they're obviously milk producing. So if we jump back out here and have a look, we're going to stick with the Holsteins. Options are 18 months old, 3 months old, or 0 months old. Obviously, there's different benefits to them. I think we're going to go here. What are we just doing? $30,000. I'm just thinking we have the second barn, the smaller one, which we could go and maybe put some calves in. So perhaps we'll pick up maybe some 3-month-old, but for now we're going to stick here with these 18-month-old. So let's just go through, figure out how much it's going to cost. Of course, we do have a transport fee associated with all of these. So if I was to double our stock numbers, 25 to 50 is going to cost us $50,000. That'll leave us 64, and then that'll be some money left to buy the 3-month-old. So I think, barring any big mishaps or misadventures on the farm, I can't think of anything else we actually need to buy. So let's just go ahead. Let's do it. 50,000 additional cattle, or 25 additional cattle, $50,000 worth of additional cattle going into there. And we then come across to this barn here. I'll find our little trigger just here. It's going to be a perfect spot to raise a few calves. We'll start off with the 3-month-old. I think for the extra little bit, we don't have to worry about any of the hand rearing them or anything like that. So if we were to go through and put 25 of these, it's going to be $17,000. It still leaves us with 50 grand. Go through and buy those. Here we go. And there we are. So now got some little baby calves running around. It does mean that we're going to need to feed them, but that's an extra 50 head of cattle. A whole lot of extra money coming in some stage. So let's just have a look and see what we need for these. So the big pen, as you can see there, it's got a decent amount of feed. That should keep them happy for a little bit longer before we can get that proper TMR in there. Let's just have a look at the cow barn. They can take anything. So I think we'll just go and grab maybe 1 bale of hay out while we've got the telehandler around the corner. We'll just bring a bale over and drop that in for them and see how that goes, see if that'll be enough. So there we go, 8,000 litre bale taken out of storage. Get this taken around the corner and go and see how they go with this. Suffice to say, I'm pretty excited to have some additional cattle. It's going to give FSG a little bit of a surprise when he comes back next time and sees our new additions, particularly these little ones in here frolicking around. Now, it's our feed trigger, so hopefully just come in and drop that there, and that will be chewed up. There you go, you can already see the feed plane appearing. Now we bring up our menu once more. And there you go, you can see that 8,000 litres of hay. In fact, it's even multiplied. We've got an extra bonus 27 litres somehow. Who knows? But there we go. They've now got some food, and hopefully that will get them growing. Once they're old enough, we can transfer them over into the bigger barn. And then we can get milking off those. And by then, hopefully some of these may have reproduced if we can keep them healthy. And they'll be able to come over into this barn, and it can be our calf rearing barn. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That should work out really, really well. So with that all done, I think our next step is going to be jumping in here and possibly getting this field improved. Now, first thing first, looking at it, is the pH value does need to be adjusted. So I know the lime spread is still floating around. I think that's down at FSG's farm. So we might go and pick that up and get some lime spread, and then we'll just make that decision around what we plant. Even if I just put the grass in this end, basically to the corner of the yard, corner of the farmyard there, go straight across, that'll give us a good size in here for some grass, hay, silage, whatever we choose to do with it. Then we can look at what we do in the other end as a little bit of a crop. Now, I was just taking a look here. As you know, we've used these for lime before, but we actually have the option here. We can put solid fertilizer, lime, or seeds, as well as mineral feed, which is good to know because we can use that in our TMR. So I think we'll be able to buy, we've already got lime all in here, but we'll be able to buy some seeds and 1,000 litres, so good way to buy some seed. We can fill up the seeder that FSG's got, so that'll be pretty good. Right, let's go grab a tractor and go find the lime spreader. So as we saw earlier, FSG started harvesting his corn in there. That's all looking good. Glad to see that being started. Let's just go in here. I'm pretty sure that he's got the spreader down here somewhere. Still got all his red beets in there he's going to have to do something with, of course. Let's just have a look around his yard. Check over this way. Ah, there we go. Sit on the back of there. So there's the cedar, which we might make use of at some stage. But there we go. There is the lime spreader. So he's got that on the back of his Deutz. We'll get that disconnected, and then we'll take that over and get started on our field. So we've got 40,000 litres still here in the silo, which is good. That should hopefully be more than enough to get this field done. So that's 9,000 litres in there. There was 1,500, 1,600 already in it, which would be FSGs from the fields he was doing. Curious as to know which ones he's got left to do and where he is actually using this. I'm actually quite sure. Possibly on, because we'd already limed this field, possibly on the little one that he had to harvest. Not sure. Anyhow, sure he's got somewhere he was using it. Maybe he hadn't used it at all. Maybe it was all just floating around from when we did. Anyhow, let's get pulled in here. Now we are going to run around the whole field, do the whole thing at once before we make any choices on what we're going to do with our seeding. So, jump up into here, turn on our steering assist. 2 headlands will be more than enough for what we're doing. Turn that on. Set that going. Turn that on. Turn on our steering assist, and we're into it. Here we go. Now we should have automatic application rate set. It does look like it's set to auto, putting on 4.38 tonnes per hectare as we're currently going. And if we bring up our minimap, you can see we are getting a nice, relatively even green application of lime there going across the field. Changed a little bit as we went on to a slightly different soil type, but all in all, looks like it is doing the task, doing the job it should do. So nothing left for it really. Jump into a little bit of time lapse and get the field done. Well, here we are getting the last part of this field done. I didn't buy any more lime. We had 6,500 litres remaining, so I've kind of gambled that that was going to be enough to finish the field off, but I'm thinking we're going to be fine. I've got this one last long pass here, to do one more down that way, and then it's just a couple of infill bits down there, so fingers crossed it's going to be enough. But it's good to see this nice green tinge appearing across a lot of the field, and getting everything pretty much up to standard, up to the best pH level we can. So we'll get this last little bit done, and then we'll see about carrying on with something else. And yeah, we're going to get home with plenty of lime left over. In fact, you know what it's going to work out as? It's going to be pretty much the 1,500 or 1,600 litres that FSG had left in there. A little bit under. But there we go. We could just about go and park this back where it was without even knowing we'd taken it. Apart from all this video evidence, of course. But there we go. That is the field done. We'll just turn it on and do this little spot just here in the corner. You can see it's gone blue where we've managed to overdose just with the application, because it doesn't actually stop applying it when you do it over an area that's already been done. But there we go. Let's mosey on our way out here. Make sure our beacons are on. I actually realised I managed to turn those off at some point. There we go. Great to have that all done, and now we're ready to get in and to get that field all seeded. So that is going to be our next task. But let's just go and get this parked up in here. Might just park it in here, and leave it for FSG to come and grab when he needs it next for what will be his cornfield and possibly his sunflower fields as well. Need to get those done, but let's just back up. I'm just going to go around the other side in here and have it so it's kind of easy to get to. And park that there. Just in here. Here we go. Perfect. Right. Let's connect that. And then we're going to go and park this up because, well, I said I thought we might have something else to do. We've been going for over an hour and a half. It's, time's flying by today. Even though we've been here on our own, we've really managed to get quite a lot done. There we go. So we might have been here on our own, no FSG today, but we did manage to get a lot done. Made a bit of money by selling some things we didn't need. Managed to buy a whole lot of new cattle. We got 25 new calves in here and 25 mature animals over in the other barn as well. So it's going to set us up to actually start to make a bit of money off our milk. I did think about it. We do need a way to collect and sell our milk, so that's something else to think about for the future. But other than that, I'm pretty confident we've got just about everything we need to run our farm without having to buy too much more equipment. So hopefully we've got our money covered and we don't have to worry about that. So there we go. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video without FSG. Make sure you do go and check out and see what he got up to when he was on the server and managed to do some work. And we'll probably take a couple of weeks break from the server, just with FSG being at FarmCon, and I'm going to be out of town as well. So just keep an eye out for a video coming sometime in the next couple of weeks. Make sure you have those notification bells turned on. That way you won't miss them. So there we go. Thank you once again. Have a good week, and we'll catch you in the next one.